And in recent weeks, the notion that political rhetoric may have contributed to the tragedy in Tucson has been completely discredited. Still, there are some on the left and in the mainstream Obama mania media that are arguing that words like targeting and job killing and crosshairs should be removed from the world of politics. Take a look at this.
Before we go to break, I want to make a quick point. We were just having a discussion about the Chicago mayoral race just a moment ago. My friend Andy Shaw, who now works for a good government group out there, used the term "in the crosshairs" in talking about the candidates out there. We're trying to get away from that language. Andy is a good friend. He's covered politics for a long time, but we're trying to get away from using that kind of language. We won't always be perfect, so hold us accountable when we don't meet your standards.
Now, that unusual apology was a hotly debated topic this morning on The View. Let's take a look.
And I think in an opportunity that the left actually had to have a real sincere conversation about the Second Amendment, we've now flipped it to talking about the First Amendment. We can't say anything right now, and it is a sad state for this country. The wrong conversation is being had, and it's ironic because it's the left who's actually flipped it.
You cannot assault a word. Like assault?
What are you trying to say?
Exactly. You say, I mean, you go on stage, as comedians, we go on the stage and they say, how did you do? Well, I killed. You can't say that anymore.
Crosshairs has really been under fire. Excuse me. It's really been, oh, jeez. I give up.
All right, and here to continue the discussion is the co-host of The View. She's also the author of the New York Times best-selling book, The G-Free Diet, which now is available in paperback in stores everywhere. The one and only Elizabeth Hasselback. Hi, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome back.
It's good to be here. One of my favorite places to be, Sean.
Well, thank you. Look, I tell you every time you're here, I love the show, and I'm a fan of the show, and I watch it a lot. I like to watch it while I'm running on my treadmill. And I agree with everybody here. This is scary. This is a little unusual.
It is scary. Did Joy agree with me there? That was shocking.
That was pretty shocking. I'm actually, before we're done with you tonight, I am going to defend Joy Behar.
I don't believe you.
No, I promise I'm going to do it. Look, one of the things I like about your show is it's passionate debate. It's all sides. It's the hot topics of the day. You know, I fear we're getting to the point. You can't say anything. You can't say war room. You can't say targeting. You can't, say we're going to put a bullseye on a map.
Yes, we can say that. And I will use yes, we can. And this is why I believe it. I think the more that we link and say we cannot say anything. I mean, look, I grew up in a family that was based on speak kind words as much as possible. And if you don't apologize, work hard, and operate with integrity. That goes without saying. I think most civil people in the United States of America agree that you shouldn't go outside of those boundaries. Right now, to even say that we have to curb what we're saying only links any rhetoric to what happened in Tucson. There's no link. We haven't found a link. There's no evidence. There's no evidence that that man even watched cable news, that he heard Sarah Palin say anything or saw the map with crosshairs. None. So the more that this conversation continues, in my opinion, it's a weak link that is trying to be strengthened by the left to Sarah and this man again.
See, it's very sinister to me because I think there's an effort here to silence opposition voices. And, to exploit a tragedy within 2 hours the way Paul Krugman did. Now, you rightly point out, this guy worshipped skulls. He was an atheist. He read Mein Kampf, the Communist Manifesto, and he smoked dope. And never listened to talk radio, according to friends, and never watched political debate and hated George Bush. But the narrative has been blame conservatives.
But we never heard any of that for the first 4 days. The left-wing media, unfortunately, Sean, and I've been trying not to have to blame anybody in this situation for, wrecking what the American people heard. But unfortunately, they were so drunk on this cocktail of trying to convict Sarah Palin that they neglected and when I say neglect, that is with a huge bat that I will say that. Neglected to give the American people information because they weren't searching for it. They had already found their killer. They had already given a man total justification for taking a gun and taking the lives of several human beings and then trying to take the lives of more. Awful. I mean, today we're blessed with the news, right? We have great news about Giffords. Yeah, and I think that should have been their first priority, giving us the news, making sure that we understood that the rest were safe, they had the killer. But if you are a crazy person out there and you know that you have an automatic out to blame it on a politician, what do you think you're going to do? They are lucky that not one more person went out on a spree that day.
And the interesting thing, the president lectured us, the media lectured us in the Major Hassan shooting. Don't rush to judgment on this. No, we don't know. We wait till all the facts are in.
Right.
Why the distinction? Why the difference in that case?
it wasn't in their favor. I mean, here they had the ultimate villain, and they had her already. They wanted to pursue it. What I can't figure out is she a woman who can't put two sentences together, some numbskull from the middle of nowhere who appeared out of the middle of nowhere like Samantha from Bewitched, or is she a brilliant woman who has an actual place in politics right now? Which one is she?
Well, if you listen to, you're talking about Governor Palin.
Yes.
All right. Why, this raises a question. Conservative women, and in particularly her. We got Michelle Bachmann. You have been, beaten up pretty bad at different times in your career. What is it, why is it that conservative women are attacked as viciously about their clothes, their kids, their families? Everybody's attacked, and Sarah Palin has been attacked more than any other public figure.
It's strange.
Out there.
It's really strange because
Why?
most of my best friends are liberal women, and I think we appreciate one another's comments. But unfortunately, when you get into this grand scheme of sort of media, television, et cetera, the conservative woman is now judged. I thought women were now liberated to be who they wanted to be, to actually voice their opinions. You know what I call those who don't appreciate a conservative woman's voice? I call them chauvinists.
But
and there are a ton of female chauvinists out there right now.
That's a great point. And, it's because Ed Koch, of all people, the former mayor of New York, pretty liberal guy, actually said, wait a minute, Sarah Palin is a role model for somebody who is fearless, who will speak out on anything and never back down. And she's a role model to boys, girls, men and women that are fearful, that would back down, that would shy from the debate. And she said to me the other night, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to be shut up.
No, and I'm sure her heart was broken like so many others about this. And the fact that she had to take blame, I mean, I understand that she had a right to be angry in her response. I think it's, it was a lose-lose situation, to be quite honest. And I think that it's unfortunate as well that the media, really, and I will dare to say it, shot themselves in the foot. We had an opportunity to have a bipartisan conversation about gun control in this country. Why this man was allowed to go into one Walmart, be denied for ammo, go to another, and then purchase it. And instead, now we're talking about things we can't talk about in the United States of America?
All right,
what's
now,
going on?
When we come back, I'm going to defend one of the most controversial things that your co-host said, Joy Behar, who...
I will believe it when I hear it, Sean.
Well, you're going to have to wait. And the person, she called me dangerous once. I'm dangerous. Joy, if you're watching, I'm not that dangerous. More with Elizabeth Hasselback coming up after the break. And welcome back to Hannity, and we continue now with the co-host of The View, author of the New York Times bestseller, The G-Free Diet, now available in paperback in bookstores all across the country. And by the way, we're going to get to this in a minute. This is a special... This is an invention by Elizabeth Hasselback. All right, let's start with the debate. We were just talking about Governor Palin and the debate that you and your co-workers, your co-hosts on The View, when you were talking about the Sarah Palin and the crosshairs issue. Here's that debate.
Wasn't Palin's thing about the fact that I don't really know all the gun lingo, but isn't it got to do that the crosshairs were exactly connected to a shooting?
And she should never have been blamed.
And she took it down the next day also because she must have felt that it was wrong. Yeah. Otherwise, why would she take it down?
There has still been no link. Here's my problem, too, with this whole Lofter. There's been no link to him saying, yes, I followed her.
Right.
Yes, I watched her. He didn't even watch cable TV as far as it has been reported and investigated. So it's a problem for me that the real motive has just been sort of ditched by the media. Why are they not still investigating his why? And then is anything...
They are.
Really, they missed a good 4 days.
Discussion is constant now.
Now is the operative word.
All right, by the way, you and Barbara were dead on right about this. Oh, I can't say dead on. Excuse me.
No, you can't.
Well, I can say whatever I want.
Shoot, you can't say dead on.
Yeah, I got to be... This is how ridiculous it is. I mean, you guys were right about this. Now, here's where I'm going to defend your co-host. In one of the more controversial, heated moments during the campaign, Joy Behar had very harsh words, made a lot of press. I was critical of her at the time when she said this about Sharon Engel.
I'd like to see her do this ad in the South Bronx. Come here, come to New York and do it.
Well, and we're praying for you. Yeah. We're praying for you.
Even Joy is praying for you.
I'm praying for her.
I'm praying for everybody. No,
She's
I'm praying
going
for
to hell.
I'm praying that her heart gets
going to hell,
saved.
Going to hell, this B word. All right, here's my defense. I want Joy Behar to be able to go on The View and say that. I want to live in a society where she's free to say that. I want to live in a society where Barack Obama can say, if they bring a knife, I bring a gun. Mm-hmm. I don't want to live in this hypersensitive, PC world that is now being created.
And it's not necessary, Sean. We're an intelligent nation. I think that the majority of people understand metaphor and simile, and when something's being used as an illustration to prove a point. American people get that. I don't think we need to curtail our speech to someone who may be off enough to go on a crazy shooting spree. We should never have to live that way. In fact, then we become prisoners in our own country.
Right. Now, look, do I think it would be in Joy's best interest? Maybe not to say that. You know, the interesting thing that I said at the time was, if I called Hillary Clinton or Barbara Boxer, any Democratic politician, which I would never do, any of those names, what do you think would happen? As a conservative saying that about a Democratic woman.
In office?
Running for office, in office.
I mean, the backlash would be incredible.
Maybe fired.
Depending on where you worked, may be fired.
I may be fired, right?
Yeah, you may be. I think, look, obviously, I think respect should be expected.
Right.
And I think everyone does have a valiant effort to try to maintain integrity in their job. It is our position as professionals to give our opinion. And I don't think that we should have to pull the reins, and I don't think that we should have to pull back if indeed it's not, our intentions are not to cause someone or incite harm. You know, I don't think our intentions are bad. They consider intent in all criminal cases. And it is always considered, especially in jury trial, and it should be considered here too. There was no intention. You see, this is what I love about the show. I mean, I like the free exchange. I don't want to put a muzzle on anybody. You know, Joy Behar wants to be outrageous. Let her be outrageous. Let her be funny, outrageous, say whatever she wants. But you know what? It's got to be fair across the board. Conservatives need to be able to say what they want and then not have boycotts and efforts to silence and intimidate or false charges or exploitation like we saw in this case. But that's why I truly love The View because of that. You know, we are able to come out there and talk about what we believe or what we've researched or what we feel and experience. And I love the opportunity to do that. And it is a fair table there. So I've always thanked Barbara Walters for that.
All right. All right. So you wrote this book. It became a huge bestseller. Two of my best friends swear by it. It saved their lives, the G-free diet. Now you developed this. This is no G. No G.
It's a part of
Hasselback's no G. It says it right on the label.
Hasselback's no G.
No gluten. This is chocolate, peanut butter, and caramel crisp.
It's a no gluten, high protein, all natural bar that I was really searching for as a celiac, but it's great for anybody who has gluten sensitivity, wants to have a great. Tim eats it all the time, former NFL player, so it's.
This is great.
I've been working really hard on the product because
I'm not going to be able to talk for the rest of the show.
That's Joy might like that. It's from Joy, actually. But
right?
I do think, you know, I'm glad the book has helped. I think gfreediet.com has been a place where people can go and learn about ways to sort of navigate the world if they want to be gluten-free. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to share.
And you're healthy now because once you discovered that you had this.
Yeah, I'm healthy as ever.
You're healthier than ever.
Yeah, I was not able to conceive before. It is chocolate peanut butter. You know, in terms of having kids, in terms of being able to be fit, you know, run marathons, train hard, and be a mom of 3 kids that, you know, has a few jobs going.
How long does it take you to run a marathon?
It takes me a few years to run a marathon. I run them mile by mile, year by year. But I try to train for some races, and I couldn't do it without the way that I am now. It's not an option for me. I'm a celiac.
I honestly, I don't know. This is delicious.
Thanks, Sean.
I'm going to order like boxes of them.
You can.
This is great.
You can go to gfreediet.com
is it low
or
in
Amazon.
calories?
It is. It's actually smart calories. It's impactful calories.
Good. So
check it out.
I can't get my stomach any bigger.
You'll be able to keep your physique.
Yes, my physique. All right. All the best to everybody. Thank you for being with us. And congratulations.